Today, Shara will talk about the sixth Niyana and Avarana, the sixth pair, by comparing these two things. The sixth Niyana, cause of liberation, is Jnana, knowledge, and the opposite, Avarana, obstacle to the cultivation of knowledge, or obstacle to liberation, is avijja, ignorance. Mere comprehension of the realities of mind and body, such as the discernment of mind and body, this is one kind of knowledge. And then the comprehension of cause and effect, that's another kind of knowledge. So these two kinds of knowledge are the causes for the liberation of noble ones. It is called Niyana because it is the cause for the liberation of the noble ones. And as for avijja, it is an obstacle to the liberation. It is called avarana because it blocks or it gets in the way of the cultivation of knowledge. It does not cause the comprehension of cultivation of knowledge. Therefore, it is an obstacle to the cause for liberation. Hence, the name avarana or niyanavarana. Hence, avijja is niyanavarana, obstacle to liberation by the noble ones. Ordinarily, all kinds of knowledge are to be taken as jnana, but here, as given in the text, we take two kinds of knowledge, namely namarupa paricheda jnana, the comprehension of mind and body, or discernment of mind and body, and paccaya parikha jnana, comprehension of cause and effect. Taking that, or understanding that there is only mind and body in oneself and nothing else. That is namarupa paricheda jnana, and that all events are subject to cause and effect. This is paccaya parikha jnana. So avijja, as for avijja, which is an obstacle, is of two kinds. Ordinary unknowing, that's not knowing in an ordinary sense, and knowing wrongly, misconception or misunderstanding. Entertaining such kinds of distorted or perverted views as person being individual. This is a kind of delusion, and with that one believes in the existence of a supreme being like Brahma or the king of Devas and so on, which commands everything, or things arise on their own automatically. Such kind of views are known as avijja, ignorance. So in the text has been described jnana and avijja in this way, as already given. As for jnana, one has got to take all vipassana jnana, all kinds of insight knowledge, leading to the path and fruition knowledge of the noble ones. And as for avijja, ignorance, the opposite of this jnana, opposite of knowing, one will take all kinds of moha, delusion, bewilderment, confusion, lack of clarity. Here we are practicing vipassana, so in the realm of vipassana, we take jnana, or we take all kinds of vipassana jnana, insight knowledge, as jnana, knowledge. And as for avijja, we take all kinds of moha, which is the opposite of jnana, delusion, confusion, bewilderment, as avijja, ignorance. With the method of the way of mindfulness, noting every arising object in the body with energy and aiming, with diligence and precision, sustaining one's mindfulness in this way, cultivating momentary concentration, Khanika Samadhi, moment by moment. Gradually, one comes to know the mind and body, Nama Rupa. So whoever practices this mindfulness, every time one is mindful, one knows that one is noting an object. The noting mind is inclined to the object observation, and this is a mentality, Nama, which cognizes the object, which is inclined to the object, which pays attention to the object. And also one will come to understand in the course of the practice the materiality, the body or rupa, which is noted, which does not know, which is known, which is only known by the knowing mind, and which cannot incline, which cannot pay attention to other objects. It is only noted one. It is a known one. So in this way one will come to understand, differentiate between the mentality and materiality, the noting mind and the noted object. So when one comes to understand in the course of practice that the noting mind is Nama and the noted one is Rupa. The Rupa is the one which does not cognize, which does not know any object. So in this way, discerning mind and body, being able to comprehend this is the noting mind and this is the noted object, is the inside knowledge called Nama Rupa Paricheda Jnana, the knowledge of the discernment of mind and body. There is this linkage between mind and body, the linkage of cause and effect. Such as Nama causes Rupa to arise, the mind causes the body to arise, and Nama causes Nama, the mind causes the mind. Rupa causes Nama, the body causes the mind, and Rupa causes Rupa, body causes Rupa. In this way, they are linked in this. This is a process of linkage between the mind and the body, Nama Rupa. Suppose you want to change posture from sitting to standing, or standing to sitting, or bending to stretching, or stretching to bending, and so on. There arises, first of all, an intention, a desire to sit, stand, bend, stretch, and so on. So this intention, which you can observe in the course of the practice, is Nama, mentality. And due to the cause of mentality, there arises the affect, materiality or body, such as the process of sitting, standing, bending, stretching, and so on. This is how Nama causes Rupa, which can be understood in the course of the practice. So such knowledge of the linkage of mind and body is known as Paccaya Parikha Jnana. Another example how Nama causes Nama is this. While one is noting the main objects in a sustained manner, one may hear a voice, and then the mind goes to note that voice. The attention is directed towards the voice or the sound. If there is no attention or advertence, mental advertence, one will not be able to hear the sound or the voice. The same thing is with seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. When the mind is adverted or the attention is directed towards the object, one has this consciousness, say seeing consciousness or hearing consciousness, as the case may be. If there is no mental advertence, there cannot arise any seeing consciousness, hearing consciousness, and so on. So this is how nama, which is mental advertence, causes the consciousness, which is also nama. This is an example of how nama causes nama, the mind causes the mind. Again, there is this linkage between body and the mind, how rupa causes nama, body causes the mind. When one is noting the object of observation, beginning with rising and falling, one is noting these rising, falling objects. They are materialities, body, and the noting mind which follows them is nama, mentality. If there is no object of observation, rupa, there will be no noting mind, no nama. Sometimes when one is following the falling object, the falling fades away and disappears, then the noting mind also will not be there. One will not be noting this. There will be no noting mind. Later, when the falling appears, the noting mind also will appear to note this falling. The same thing with the rising. When the rising fades away and disappears, there will be no noting mind, no noting of the rising object. And later, when rising appears again, there will be this noting consciousness of the rising. So because of the existence of this object, materiality, body, there occurs this noting mind, which is nama, mentality. This will be observed in the course of one's mindfulness practice. And this is how rupa causes nama. The example is how rupa causes rupa, the body causes the body. For instance, one's body is affected by the cool and hot weather. When one feels hot, when the weather is hot, the outside temperature is high, one feels hot, that is one's body becomes hot, sweating, becoming tired, and so on. So this is the materiality, change of materiality. When the outside temperature is low, when the weather is cold, one shivers, one's body shivers, and this is the materiality of cold materiality, or the process of coldness in one's body. So because of the hot and cold weather, the body becomes hot and cold, as the case may be, and hot and cold materialities arise continuously. This is quite obvious. So this is how this hot weather, hot and cold weather, rupa, causes hot and cold body, rupa again. This is an example of how rupa causes rupa, body causes the body, or materiality causes materiality. Yet another example is when one takes food. If one does not take food, one's body will feel weak and tired and so on. This is the manifestation of the materiality as a result of food, ahara. When one takes the food, one will feel strength and health and activity. One will become fresh and so on. If one takes too much, a belly full of food, then one may doze off. So this is how rupa causes rupa. Rupa in the form of food causes this bodily actions or bodily effect. This is rupa. Heaviness in the body due to food and so on. Dizziness due to food. All these things are the resultant materiality, rupa. The ahara, the food, is rupa, so this is how rupa causes rupa. The food, rupa, causes the change in the materiality in one's body, freshness, coolness, heaviness, dullness, giddiness, and so on. All these things are materialities connected with food. So this is the example, these are the examples of how rupa causes rupa. About this linkage of cause and effect, there are many examples. For instance, in the course of the practice, there's a good feeling as a result of the practice, physically and mentally. Then one feels happy, satisfied, one rejoices, and when there's unbearable feelings, unbearable sensations in the body, pains and aches and so on, then one feels unhappy, aversion, unbearable feelings and so on. All these things are cause and effect. When yogis are not noting, kilesas will enter. When they are mindful, kilesas will not have the chance to enter. This also is a manifestation of cause and effect linkage. There's no end to these examples. So because of so and so causes, there arises the benefits, mind and body benefits. Because of the causes, the benefits or the consequences or results arise. In this way, in the course of the practice, while one is mindful, one comes to realize or comprehend this linkage of cause and effect. And such knowledge is taken as jnana. With the continued practice, one develops the practice, one develops in the practice, and coming to comprehend the universal characteristics of the psychophysical phenomena subject to cause and effect as arising and passing away. The unsatisfactory nature of these arising and passing away phenomena. At times, because of the unbearable sensations in the body, one comes to understand the unsatisfactory nature of the body, and then also the absence of substantial or hardcore in all these phenomena. There's no such thing as atta, self or soul, and nothing is governable, controllable. They arise on their own, they're impersonal, non-self. In this way, one will come to understand these realities in the course of the practice. With the continued practice of the mindfulness, one will come to observe the fleeting away of phenomena, fleeting momentary nature of experience, that no sooner have they arisen, they are gone. And with the continued practice, one will come to observe just the dissolution of these objects as one notes the arising objects. So every time one notes, one will come to comprehend these realities. Knowing these things also is jnana in this sense. Developing this vipassana in all aspects to satisfactory stage, that is embarking on the series of insight, different series of insight knowledge, until one is able to go beyond the arising and passing away of conditioned phenomena, reaching the conditioned state, realizing the path and fruition of the noble ones. This vipassana, in this way, the Ariyas, the noble ones, are able to be liberated from the round of suffering. Therefore, all vipassana jnana, insight knowledge, are the causes for the liberation of the noble ones, Niyana. So it is necessary to develop this Niyana cause for the liberation of the noble ones, by practicing to satisfactory stage. And even if one is not able to be free from all undesirable states, all negative states, if only one realizes the path, the fast path, one will be able to be free from the dangerous lower worlds, woeful states, apaya. If one is not mindful of every arising mind and body objects at the moment of the arising, and being deluded, bewildered, confused, or practicing very lightly, casually, not intensively, one will not understand Namarupa, mind and body, as mind and body. Because if one does not look, one will not see. If one does not note, one will not observe. If one is not mindful, one will not be fully aware. So one will not come to understand the linkage of cause and effect. Also the the universal characteristic of impermanence, unsatisfactoriness and selflessness. Neither one will comprehend the fleeting, momentary nature of experience, that the objects are fleeting away. Neither will one comprehend the dissolution of the objects. So in this way, not knowing the truth, knowing wrongly. This is the characteristic of avijja. Because one is not, in respect of objects which are not noted, one will take them as person, being, individual, man, woman, I, you, and they are all living entity and so on. And also one may hold the view of beings arise automatically. They arise on their own. Automatic arising without any causelessness. So all these things will lead to ahetuka ditthi, the view of causelessness. And also one may think that there is such a thing as supreme being, Brahma, or the king of devas and so on, which gives command. And then think that all these nama-rupa, mind and body, are permanent. They arise on their own. And all these things are distorted, perverted views. Like one who has cataract will not see at all, or if one sees, one will not see clearly, one may see wrongly. Therefore, the opposite of jnana, which is avijja, is the obstacle to liberation. When we say avijja, not knowing means not knowing. It's not that one does not know at all, completely. One does not know the truth of the nature of the objects, the realities of the objects such as the mind and body, the cause and the effect, linkage or relationship, and the universal characteristics of impermanence and so on. This is lack of knowledge. But not only that, one can know something in the wrong way because one's views are distorted. That is wrong knowing, such as taking that there is such a thing as atta, self or soul, such as jiva atta, parama atta. So in the body there is such a thing as jiva atta, individual soul. In this connection, Sarah would like to say something about atta. Now, Atman, is atta and atama. So this is the location of jnana, knowledge. Knowledge is situated in this atama. And there are two kinds of this, jiva atta and parama atta. Now parama atta, supreme soul or self, governs the whole universe. It knows all, it knows everything, and one and only one is the only one and only one. There's no two supreme atta. That is how the atta viewers understand or they believe. And as for jiva atta, individual self or soul exists in every being, diffused throughout the being, as a living entity which can move about or which governs, commands the individual body to see, hear, smell, and so on. So, or to move or not to move. So jiva atta gives a command to the body where it exists. So this jiva atta is permanent. It never perishes. Even if the body breaks up when one dies, this jiva atta never perishes. It goes into another new body and exists there and carries on its duties as usual. And this is jiva atta. So this is how the atta viewers hold the understand. So all this atta in the body is under the command of again supreme atta, parama atta, to see, to hear, and so on. So in this way people hold the view of the existence of self or soul. They cling to such views. This is distorted view, and this is how atta people know in a wrong, distorted, perverted manner. If one is not mindful of every arising, one will not know this mind and body. As mind and body, one will take this as one composite being, instead of understanding that it is made up of mind and body and nothing else. And also, when the body breaks up, this atta, self or soul, will not break up, it will not perish, it is permanent, it will stay there. These are the distorted views. Even if one is not reflecting at the moment of noting, later on, whenever one reflects on these past objects, one may try to enlarge, just like when you take a picture with a camera. First of all, the image is imprinted on the film, and when this is printed, one can see the picture clearly, and one can even enlarge this print as one likes. So, like taking camera, like taking pictures, although one will not understand about the object or presently know the object, because one is not mindful with the practice of Satipatthana, with energetic aim, one will not understand the realities. So, about the objects which are not noted, one will enlarge later on. One will reflect, every time one reflects upon this past object, one will enlarge as much as one likes, just like enlarging one's photograph or print. So there are two kinds of avidya, ignorance or unknowing, simple unknowing and knowing in a wrong way. This is the opposite, or this goes contrary to knowledge. And this is also called moha, or avijja. They are anonymous: delusion, confusion, bewilderment, or ignorance. So one should remember that what has been explained so far as simple unknowing and knowing wrongly, a misconception, both are avijja. So for those who are not mindful, who are not practicing satipatthana, this avijja will be very thick. There will be many thick layers of avijja in their mind. So this mohapatala, this is in Pali called mohapatala, that means a layer of delusion. Because one is not mindful of the existing objects, obvious objects as they arise, and knowing the true nature as they exist. This mohapatala, thick layers of delusion, arise in them, or their delusion are the layers of delusion are thick. Let us say when you are not being mindful for 1 minute about the arising object, at the rate of 1 second per layer of this delusion, so you can just calculate how many layers you will be covered, thick layers of delusion, 60 layers. And 5 minutes and 1 hour, you can just calculate with a simple calculator. You can use calculator if you like. And 24 hours, how many layers will be dumped on you? You'll be heavy, loaded with layers. And if it goes on to days and months, you can still calculate. So this is the layer of avijja, not knowing, and unknowing, simple unknowing, and knowing in the wrong way. So this is because one does not know the truth, one knows wrongly. Even for the practicing yogis, because they have not developed jnana to satisfactory stage, avijja, this ignorance, is always gets the upper hand, gains the upper hand. Why? The reason is they have been conditioned, addicted to avijja throughout their lifetimes. And this avijja has built up momentum, very forceful, like a waterfall. One cannot dam or block or close or prevent this stream coming from the waterfall to stop. And in between, there may be some wholesome deeds, but these wholesome deeds will always be behind of avijja, behind avijja. And as regards avijja and jnana, which are antagonists, jnana is always belated, lags behind. Avijja is always in the forefront, because, as has been said, one has been addicted or conditioned throughout the lifetimes. It is quite correct. Because the mind is not strengthened with the practice, with the cultivation of energy and power of aiming precisely and consistently, there is the mindfulness is not strong, and the sustained mindfulness is not strong. Therefore, moha always gains the upper hand. Avijja always gets the priority, always in the forefront. It flows like a rapid current. Therefore, when yogis are asked in interviews, they are accustomed to say, "Oh, I could note very little, and mostly I lose mindfulness. Mostly I miss rather than hit. So this is the proof that avijja or moha is always in the forefront, always gains the upper hand of yogis. Because one cannot energize one's mind as necessary, as required, knowledge always lags behind. In the beginning of the practice, although they are mindful, noting every arising object, they are not even aware of just mind and body. That one is made up of mind and body and nothing else, because one has been conditioned, addicted. One has the inherent knowledge, inherent understanding of the existence of living entity, of the existence of the form, of the concepts. So in this way one cannot overcome, one cannot get away from this understanding. So one can understand how thick is the layer of delusion. Therefore, at the moment of seeing, one sees as a living entity, one sees as a concept. Either one observes the seeing manner, or seeing act of seeing, or before one can understand the truth of the reality, such as the seeing consciousness or the visible object or the eye, as explained at one time, because one is seeing the living entity, being conditioned to understanding the existence of living entity, one will hold the view that it is I who sees. And in this way one has this distorted perception. And well, I am seeing so and so concept. This is another conceptual knowledge. This is avijja. This is how avijja gets the upper hand, gains the priority. Seeing man, seeing the visible object as man, woman, beauty, and so on. This again is a sign of avijja getting the upper hand. Therefore, avijja is not just simple unknowing at all. It knows in a wrong way, distorted perceptions. And this is distorted perception, distorted observation is also avijja. Therefore, avijja is the mind which follows avijja. Is always knowing wrongly in a thick manner, in thick layers, like the wall of avijja. Therefore, one cannot know the true nature of the objects, because it is covered by ignorance, avijja. Because one is not being able to observe the true nature of things, such as there are the three elements as mentioned at one time: striker element, base element, and ignition element, which are the object of observation. And every time one is mindful, one is not observing them in their true nature. Avijja is always riding high, always gaining the upper hand. Therefore, one will not have a chance to see things in the true nature, which is with insight knowledge. There cannot arise. There is no chance of this vipassana jnana, which sees the truth, to arise. Only with vipassana jnana can one be liberated from the round of suffering, niyana. Now, this ignorance, this avijja, is not giving a chance, is blocking, obstructing the arising of vipassana jnana, which is niyana, cause for the liberation of the noble ones. Not knowing mind and body, not knowing the cause effect, avijja becomes an obstacle to niyana, obstacle to the cause of liberation. In short, noting every arising with sustained mindfulness with energetic aim is Niyana, that is cause for the liberation of the noble ones. Every time one notes, every time one is mindful, one is said to be cultivating this Niyana cause for the liberation of the noble ones. If, however, one is not mindful, one is thinking, spaced out, imagining, getting lost in thoughts, then this is avijja, ignorance, niyana varana, obstacle to liberation. Therefore, when yogis report, as I have forgotten to note, or I could not note this, I lost mindfulness, I had more miss and I missed more than hitting, I have been thinking, imagining, planning, all these things are tantamount to avijja, as much as to say to oneself that I am covered up with the layers of avijja. So one has got to note every arising object and prevent these avijja from arising, or not to let them, not to give them a chance for the avijja to arise. And if, however, one has forgotten to note, one is imagining or thinking, then one should be able to note and overcome this avijja and its followers. Is about the sixth pair of niyana and niyana varana. That's all for today. Sadhu, sadhu.